So I'll just go ahead and get the slideshow up and then we'll introduce ourselves just so you know who you're chatting to. So my name's Melissa. I'm Creative Projects Officer here at Liverpool Hope and I work on a Creative Campus. And then we have Dylan. I'll let you introduce yourself. Oh, I think you're on mute, Dylan. Sorry.
Sorry guys, yeah. Hi, I'm Dylan and I work within the student recruitment team, mainly at Hope Park at Liverpool Hope University.
And then we've got Harry. Harry, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, welcome. I'm Harry Pierce and I'm the Student Engagement Officer here at Hope.
Perfect. And then we've got Angela from Accommodation. Angela, would you like to introduce yourself and what it is you do?
Yeah, my name is Angela Reppian and I work in the Estates and the Accommodation Office and I manage the accommodation and the halls.
Perfect. So we're going to just go through the slides. We're going to chat to you a little bit about accommodation at Hope. We're going to show you the different accommodation we have available. And then at the end, we're going to be doing a short Q&A session. Now, if you find you can't stay for the full session, that's absolutely fine. We'll be sending out a recorded version of this in any emails you may receive from us. So at least you can watch back on it. And we should also be putting it on our YouTube channel. So if you want to watch it again for future reference, you can do. So I think we'll just get started. So I'll let Dylan start off with this one because he is based at Hope Park. If you would, Dylan.
Yeah, so this is our Hope Park campus. This is our main campus. I'm not sure if any of you have got the chance to come and see our campus, but this is our campus, which is based in Chilwell. And if you were to study anything such as education, humanities, sport, anything like that, you'd be based here. And if you are to come to us this academic year or next academic year, whenever you do decide to come, it could be that you actually stay on our halls of residence within this campus.
Yeah. And then we have our creative campus as well. So our creative campus has accommodation. It's quite settled in the city centre. It's like a 10-minute walk from town. So it's really good that you've got the option to stay there where you can be so close to everything as well. And that has en-suite accommodation, which we'll show you later on too.
Yeah, we also have our Aigburth Park accommodation as well, which is open to students from their first to third year. So for example, if you did perhaps enjoy living on first year, if you were to come with us and wanted to stay on halls, this could be an option for you. Our Aigburth Park accommodation is kind of on the suburbs of Liverpool. It's kind of close to Loch Lane, if you know the area. And it's a really nice campus with both ensuite and shared types of accommodation. And as we go through the slides, we'll show you some images as well.
Okay, so just a little bit more about what you may want to consider at the moment if you are looking at accommodation. I know a lot of students will consider staying in their family home or maybe commuting, and that can involve just getting a train or a bus to campus every few days. Or some people may even want to go abroad, and they're both great options. I think what really helps you making that decision is looking at your financial costs. So perhaps looking at how much student finance you could possibly get, having a look at how that's going to affect your traveling, and also just having a look at the distance too. Is that something that you can do reasonably considering like the heaviness of your course? If you're doing a course with placements, is that going to work for you, or would it be easier for you to live on campus? And like I said, blending in with that travel costs. Is there going to be additional travel? Is there going to be, any things that may get in the way of you getting to campus on time? And again, it all does depend on the intensity of your course. Another factor, living in the city or the suburbs. So with Liverpool Hope, we are quite fortunate in the sense we have a city campus, and then we have our Hope Park campus, which is more in like a suburban area. And like I said, it's not too far from the city centre at all. But some students do prefer just having that little bit of distance. But if you're someone that needs to be in the city, it may be worth having a look at options where you're going to have all your, sources around you, and you're not going to struggle getting into town if you need to. You also want to consider a campus-based university, like I say, or city-based. So in Hope Park campus, obviously, you've got the gym, you've got like sports centre, you've got the library really close, and you've got some shops close by, and you've got links to the city centre. Whereas at the creative campus, obviously, we don't have a gym on site, but you do have those links in the city too. So it all depends on personal preference as well. And then other factors come into that too, where, you may have a part-time job, you may need to travel to get to work on time. All of those, it would be good to make some considerations there to see what works best for you in your course and also your lifestyle in general as a student. Now, we obviously touch on private accommodation, so there is lots of private accommodation in Liverpool you may want to look at if you don't wish to stay in university accommodation. But I think the only way to really be sure of that decision is to go and view it properly. Make sure you go in person, have a chat to the owners, have a chat to the landlords, And then, like I said, definitely try and get booked on for a university campus tour and ask to see the accommodation and ask to see both types as well. And that way you truly know what you're getting. And leading on to that, obviously, within the accommodation, check if you'd be happy to have an ensuite or if you'd be comfortable sharing a bathroom. We'll chat about that a little bit later, I'm sure, in our Q&A. We may get some questions which Angela can help us with, as some students may have different preferences. But they're sort of the main points if you want to look back on them and just have a little think.
Yep, so in terms of your accommodation at Hope Park, this would be Hope Park or Aigburth. As Mel said before, our creative campus is purely ensuite, but these are just some of the main differences between ensuite and shared. So if you look, for example, some shared factors, all types of accommodation are on campus. For example, I lived at the creative campus on my first year, even though I studied at Hope Park, and there is a shuttle bus that gets you between both campuses, or sorry, all three campuses. So that could be an option as well if you did kind of want to stay at the city centre. There is a communal kitchen and common room as well between all of our accommodation types, and all of them have swipe card entry, so that's a good way of knowing you're secure on campus as well. We also have 24/7 security on all three types of campuses as well, and they're really approachable and good to know just for your security as well. All come with a bed, wardrobe, study area, chair, chest of drawers, as well as unlimited Wi-Fi, of course. The main differences with the ensuite, of course, is you do have your own bathroom, and obviously it is going to be slightly more expensive, roughly around £106 to £126 per week, kind of depending on whatever type of hall you do choose to apply for. And as well, they're mixed gender, so with boys and girls. In terms of shared accommodation, you would be sharing a bathroom with those within your halls of residence, so it could be up to 10 or 11 people, but you would have a mini fridge and a wash basin facility within your room as well. And obviously this would be slightly more cheaper, from around £88 to £106 per week, and these would be of mixed genders as well. Both ensuite and shared types of accommodation as well all have a laundrette. So you can do your washing there, and all of our accommodation types have student resident tutors as well. So they would overlook your hall block and any kind of personal issues or any social activities. They would be responsible for looking after your welfare on campus as well.
Perfect. And we'll chat a little bit more about SRTs as well in the Q&A. So we're actually going to show you some pictures now, just of some of the different types of accommodation we have, and you can view these on the website. So if you go on our website and type in just accommodation, it takes you to our Flickr gallery, but we've just taken the main images just to let you have a little look.
Yep, so these will be pictures, some of the examples from our Hope Park campus. So listen, the Josephine and the Catherine Booth and Romero and our Kitty halls, these are examples of shared types of accommodation. So as you can see there, you do have your communal area, your lounge area, and that's an example of a shared bathroom. If you look at the bottom left-hand picture, that's perhaps what your bedroom look like. And you can see there you'd have your own fridge as well as your own desk space as well. If you slide through. This is another type of shared hall called Angela and Austin. Again, the exact same shared facilities, but they do look a bit different because they're based in a different building and section of the university. But as you can see, they're well looked after, they're modern, and they have everything you need. Yeah, and these would be examples of our ensuite types of accommodation, and we do have three types: our Newman, Teresa, and our Wesley. Again, as you can see there, a really nice modern kitchen with all the appliances that you would need, a nice communal and table area as well. And of course, again, the exact same, your desk space, limited Wi-Fi, but of course you'd have your own bathroom within the ensuite as well. And myself and my colleague are currently working on actually setting up 3D tours for these hall types as well. And so they'll be published on the website soon, and as soon as they're available, we'll let you know.
Perfect, thank you. And then obviously our creative campus, so very similar to the ensuite halls at our Hope Park campus. And what's really lovely about our creative ones too, like I say, it's very close to town, lots of great social aspects there. You can just see there now they're very spacious. You'll get your shared living room, kitchen, and you'll get obviously your bedroom if you're ensuite, get a nice large desk. And also there's, like Dylan mentioned before, there's a laundrette on site. And what I love about the creative campus halls, Jared Manny Hopkins, they're quite close as well to your resident tutors. So if you need anything at all, it's all really accessible and student friendly.
Yep, so as we said before, we also have a third site, which is our Aigburth Park. It's purely residential. So St. Julie's here would be an example again of our shared type of accommodation there. Just again, the same kind of areas. You have your kitchen area as well as your own bedroom, obviously shared bathroom, but again, you've got a nice big open space as well to eat with your housemates as well. And Josephine Butler, obviously they're very similar to our Hope Park and Creative ensuite types of accommodation, but again, all the same rules. For example, if in your ensuite block, you might be sharing with 5 or 6 people compared to, you know, shared, we might be with 10 or 11 with like 3 or 4 bathrooms, for example. So that's the main difference as well, but that's an example of our ensuite type at Aigburth.
Right. So we're going to start the Q&A session now. I actually have a few questions that you guys have sent in already. So we're just going to go through a couple of them. And whilst we're doing that, you're more than welcome to pop your question into the Q&A box. It should be at the bottom of your screen. And just let us know any questions you have at all. We actually got one earlier, and it was how many people are in a flat compared to ensuite and shared. So I don't know, Angela, if you know that one, maybe. Is there a difference?
Yeah, there is. So most of our ensuite accommodation is a cluster of 5, with the exception of Josephine Butler and Hopkins Hall at Everton and Aigburth. So in them halls, it could vary between, I think the very smallest flat is a 3, but there's only 2 of those, up to a flat of 6 and 7. Our shared accommodation in Angela and Austin Hall, that's a 4-storey building, and there is an average, the ground floor is slightly different, but most floors have 14 bedrooms, 2 kitchens and several bathrooms to share. And as regards to St Julie's Hall, which is shared, and also the wings, which we call HCA wings, but you've referred to before as Catherine Booth, Josephine Bakita, etc. And there's a maximum of 10 students there. At St Julie's, there's on average between 7 and 9 per flat.
Okay, great. It's good to know. And if anyone, like I say, has any further questions, you can of course check out our accommodation page on our website if you need like a recap, and we can have a little chat to you as well. Thanks, Angela. And we actually have a question that might be good for Harry to answer. It was, are there good social activities for students to get involved in whilst living on campus?
Yeah, so yeah, definitely there's loads of things for you to be getting involved. That's sort of my area. So I oversee all of the social events that happen on all 3 campuses, and work really closely with your senior resident tutors to make sure that there's an event on every night. So coming into this academic year, there'll be something on 7 days a week, varying from, you know, sports activities that are taking place. We have sport days going on. The big night in the student bar is a Friday, so often we get external people that come in. So we've had silent discos, drag queen bingo. Yeah, so we're really driving forward, having lots to do next year here on campus. And you know, our aim with those events is we understand that there's all different types of students. So we've got those students that will want to go and, you know, and go to a party. We've got those students that will want to do something a little bit quieter, and we've got those students that will want activities in events to really encourage them to get involved in university life. So we really make sure that we're tailoring our events for everybody, not just those that do like to go crazy and party every night.
Yeah, love it. Fantastic. We've got another question. This might be more again for Angela. If a student was to start a course on one campus and decide to change courses, and for example, say they want to do dance instead and live on Creative Campus, is it possible to move halls once you're already in?
So the current allocation policy is you can only live at the Creative Campus if you're studying at the Creative Campus. Mm-hmm. So you might maybe part-time study at Hope Park and part-time study at Creative. So in which case Creative will be the first option. There's always a possibility, as Harry can probably advise, to move regardless of, you know, whether it's for course reasons or for preference. But obviously there's a waiting list, so that just depends on availability, and there is a small fee if you want to move by choice. But if there's availability, yeah, it's not a problem.
Okay, perfect, thank you. And I'm going to throw this one to Dylan, because I know you had really positive hall experience when you lived on Creative Campus. Is it easy to make friends in halls and to integrate within them?
Yeah, definitely. I think you know, you'll be living with people who might not study in your course, or of course you might not have met with, which is really nice. You know, it's all fresh new people. And Harry can probably look this as well. Your SRTs are the ones who really look after you while you're on campus, and they will throw together like pizza nights, quiz nights, live band nights, that kind of thing. But also there is really good opportunities such as gala dinner nights, and they're good ideas for you to dress up, have a free course meal, free wine, and kind of meet with all different people within your block as well, not just those within your flat. So that's a really, really good way of meeting and, interacting with people within your block, within your campus who doesn't essentially live in your flat. And that's how you could build really good networks, and as well for moving outside for next year as well, for house shares and stuff. That's how you form them networks in your first year of accommodation.
Perfect.
Mel, there's been a couple of questions in the Q&A box. There's a common one. Yeah, there's a common one coming through. Where some students want to apply for accommodation, but they can't find their student ID number. Basically, if you just email us on inquiry@hope.ac.uk, we'll be able to go into our system and locate that for you, and we'll just ask you a few personal questions and we'll send that over to you, no problem. But we'll send that email address in the chat box for you. Does the accommodation at Hope Park have a gym? Yes, it does. It's 20 at the minute. It's £25 for the whole academic year, which is really good. And that includes your classes as well, but that could be subject to change. But at the minute, it is part of the Hope Park campus. Yeah.
Do you want me to just jump in on a couple of them other questions there?
Yeah, please, Angela.
So Savni, you've asked if you'd like to change your accommodation from Hope Park to Aigburth for your first year. If you could just email accommodation@hope.ac.uk, one of the staff will get back to you there. You've asked, Krishna has asked if you can decorate your rooms with posters and flags. Yes, you can put things up in your rooms, but it must be temporary, not to damage the paintwork. Someone's asked about what comes in the kitchen. So kitchen is standard. There'll be an iron board, a vacuum cleaner, kettle, toaster, microwave. So you basically need to bring like pans, utensils, knife and fork, plates. And if you can, please just only bring what you'll use yourself, because a lot of people buy a set of pans or a 16-piece dinner service and it's not all used. And although it does go to charity at the end of the year, it's very difficult for us to manage. So the less you bring, the better, really.
Perfect. Okay, and then someone's asked how they would get in touch with future flatmates. Obviously, this is a question that would be for in the near future, for when you do apply and if you did get a place. There's lots of options to sort of integrate online eventually when you get to that stage in your application journey. So often there'll be Facebook pages sometimes for accommodation. I think, Harry, sometimes isn't there like residential life-led Facebook pages where students can speak to each other?
Yeah. Mainly, I think it's set up through the Facebook pages. We used to be involved, but we stepped away from Facebook. But yeah, no, I'd look out and get the group chat set up. I think there's a chat somewhere, isn't there? And you all know what course you're on, and you can add each other to it like that. I've seen them going around at the minute. But yeah, you can definitely get in contact with your flatmates and your course mates as well.
And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put our inquiry email into our box, just in our chat box here. If anyone has any additional questions that may pop into your head afterwards, certainly check it out. And I'm also going to put in our Instagram name as well, if you want to have a little look if there's anything that pops into your head too. So just this question may be for you, Angela. Is a friend allowed to come and stay and visit, or is there a maximum amount? We do have guest accommodation, don't we?
Yeah, so we have guest accommodation on each campus. It's quite reasonably priced. I think it's around £25, depending on the room. We have some double rooms as well. So they're for the guests of students. Sometimes parents like to stay in, or we have some guest accommodation, which is called Eden Suites. So that's more like a, should we say, hotel style. It's not a hotel, the suites, but parents do choose to stay there. Or like we said, we do have some guest accommodation. You do need to book that. Students' friends don't stay in the bedrooms for fire safety reasons.
Great, thank you. I just think Dylan is typing an answer to Krishna with regards to jobs on campus. In
terms of jobs on campus, yeah, there's a wide range of different jobs you can get involved in, and we do have a Hope Work scheme as well. It could be that you could be a student ambassador, for example, or it could be you do some bar work, some catering work. There are a range of different jobs that you can get involved in on campus. So yeah. It's
great on Creative Campus, especially if you do live here for your course. There we have our capstone theatre, and that's a really great way to integrate your course interest into your job. So I did dance and I worked in the capstone theatre, and I saw a free show pretty much every week. I obviously got trained on the bar, got trained in the box office, so that's really good for future work experience too. So definitely when you arrive, get signed up to our employability hub, and you could look out for any job opportunities that come up, and they are very student friendly in terms of part-time hours, which is great. And you can also drop into our employability hub anytime as well, if you do end up studying with us. So got no more questions for the time being. I'll just give it a few more minutes. We're looking to end in a couple of minutes or so. And like I said before, there will be a recording of this sent out to everyone who's interested. So you can look back and have a little bit of a reflection. So yeah, just give it a few more seconds. I bet you it'll be, someone will pop up with something right before we're about to leave, and I don't want to leave them hanging. So yeah, and I'll
there's one in.
There we go. Where is it there? Dylan, do you want to take that wee one?
If I want to bring my car, is there a place for student parking? Angela, you might want to correct me, but to my knowledge, unless you do a teacher training course where you require a car, I don't think you can bring your car. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, I think you have to apply. It depends on where you live. And so at Aigburth Park, if you are a PGCE or a retainer, there's about 50 spaces down there. So you can always apply to park there, but they come first serve. So first years would have to sort of go on a waiting list. And as for the other campuses, you need special permission to park on campus, such as for medical reasons, or maybe you've got a job at certain hours. So that's something that we do, Nancy. You have to apply to Dean of Students for permission, and there's no parking at Creative Campus.
Someone has just asked if they could see the images. So if you just type in accommodation onto our website, and then you can click on one of the boxes, it'll show you all of the pictures, and it does a link to our Flickr page as well. And they're all really good quality pictures where you can have a proper look. If you're interested in coming to see the accommodation in person, just type in campus tours onto our website, and you can fill out the really quick form there, and you can have a little look. We'll bring you on campus, we'll show you around if you just want a little idea for now of what we have. That's grand. I feel like we've given you lots of information, so there's definitely enough to mull over for now. Just give it about 2 more minutes we've got on the Zoom, so we'll just see if anyone else has any last minute questions they want to answer.
I'll just add while we're waiting, something just to touch on what a question Dylan answered before. I get a lot of questions on an open day or an applicant day as to what's the best to apply for, shared or ensuite. And I know it's personal preference, but everybody leaving home just wants an ensuite. But it's surprising when people actually come and do a campus tour, how many people actually prefer shared. I think and Harry might know this, I think there's more of, probably a little bit more sociable because there's more students, and I don't mean in a loud and rowdy way. I just think you've got more chance of bumping into someone in the kitchen and having a bit of a chat. It can be a bit quieter, I think, in ensuite in that respect. So don't dismiss shared, especially for budget purposes, because when people do campus tours, they do actually change their minds and want shared.
Yeah, and like I said, they're lovely and spacious as well. There's quite a lot of options to choose from.
And you do get your own fridge as well.
Yeah.
So again, Angela, you maybe are full of knowledge for this. And when you rent student accommodation, when does the contract run until?
Okay, so if you come as a first year this year, our arrival date is the 1st of October, and the contract normally runs until around the middle of June. So it's 37 weeks in total for a standard first year contract.
Yeah, it's grand. So
as regards for paying for your accommodation monthly, that's something you can discuss with the finance team. Usually people pay sort of in line with their student finance, and it's sort of 3 payments a year, but I think you can actually make separate arrangements if you contact the finance team.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, just give that a few more minutes just to see. Really good questions so far, really informative. It's good to know that you're properly considering every aspect before you continue your application journey with ourselves. Make sure nothing else comes up. And thank you both, Harry and Angela, as well. You've been so informative and helping me and Dylan out and everything. Despite both living here, you tend to forget little things. So it's been a couple of years since your degree, but we can both say we really enjoyed living on campus and off campus in Liverpool, and it was a really positive experience as well. So yeah, it was great. So I think that pretty much wraps up the session. Don't seem to have any more questions. If you like your halls, can you stay in the same place for all 4 years? So like you mentioned, Angela, isn't creative first year only?
Yeah, so creative and Hope Park is first year only unless you have additional needs, such as perhaps a physical disability and you're studying at Hope Park, although our other campuses do have accessible accommodation. So we do offer a retainers deal for Aigburth Park in shared or ensuite. We found that over the years we have some students who make a friendship group in the first year. They might necessarily be from their own flat, they might be living externally in the first year, but they'll make up a group of between 7 and 9 and we'll offer them accommodation in one flat. And we've had one cohort, I think, that were with us for 4 years, some going into 5, depends on the types of course they're doing. So they end up like staff really, like part being there for like a long time, seeing them coming and going. So yeah, that's an option to stay with us for all the years.
Yeah, I was in, so I joined university in second year and I stayed in halls for the whole 2 years and I absolutely loved it because I just felt really at home, really comfortable. And that was Aigburth halls. So
Yeah,
it was, all sorts of students were there. We had loads of international students, students second year up to PhD level, which is really interesting to share your flat with. So hopefully you'll be able to find the right location for you. So I think, but here's our contact details if you do want to ask any additional questions. So for our Facebook, our Twitter, and our Instagram, and all of our separate emails, and I have put our email in the chat box anyway. Is there anything else you guys would like to end on or share before we go? Before we get everything out? No, all good. All the information out there. And yeah, thank you so much everyone for joining. And like I say, a recording will be sent to you soon. And yeah, have a great rest of your summer and let us know if you need anything else.